Hello and welcome to my review of the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest subscription issue number 3. Now this issue, if you've seen the first look video, you will see that it comes with 3 Primaris Reaver Space Marines. They're kind of like scouts, the old kind of Space Marine scouts. This issue, as every issue with Warhammer 40,000 Conquest, will cost you £7.99. Hatchett Partworks, who run this subscription, didn't send me issue 2, so I'm still missing that, which is a shame because I was really after that Death Guard green paint and also these Death Guard miniatures, of which I'll be doing a few size comparisons later. The models themselves went together pretty well. They are the same 3 Primaris Reavers as the easy to build set for £10, so you can get these separately if you can't manage to get the magazine. If we look at the models here, they've all got their heavy bolt pistols and combat knives. They've also got shot grenades, and if you get the full set, the 10 of them, you can equip them with bolt carbines and grapnel launchers and also grav shoots. But for the purposes of this subscription, the 3 easy to build ones just have the heavy bolt pistols and the combat knives and the grenades. Their poses are a bit strange. This Space Marine is kind of, moving that way with his legs, but his torso and his head and his arm are facing that way. Quite strange. This one, again, his leg poses are quite strange. This one as well. All the legs and the torsos and the arms just don't go that well, in my opinion. The full price multi-part set is a much better way to go, and I actually prefer the normal intercessors over these Reavers, the normal easy to build set. But let's have a look at their models individually. So this guy is got his arm outstretched and is aiming his pistol facing that way, but his body is kind of facing the other way. Quite a strange pose. He's got purity seals, he's got massive combat knife, which is probably about half the size of a normal Space Marine. He's got these shot grenades, you can see them because they're kind of got this this activator pin. The power packs have got these studs on as well. Plenty of pouches, loads of other grenades, more pouches there, and this iconic kind of skull mask. You can see them here. They kind of look like Dark Reapers, if you know of Eldar or if you've played Eldar before. That's what these masks remind me of. Then you've got this guy, who's another Reaver with a big combat blade again, sort of looking that way. Not as an active pose, but still a better pose, I think, in my opinion. Got a purity seal, more pouches, a frag grenade and crack grenade this time, and he's left his shot grenade at home. Can't find a shot grenade on him at all, but never mind. And he's got some more frag grenades and the skull mask. So that's his heavy bolt pistol, that one. And then finally we've got the Sergeant. This guy does have the shot grenade, and he's got his sheath, and he's got some kind of instrument panel on his van brace, I think it's called, and his combat blade in a reverse grip kind of hold. So that's the Sergeant. Worth noting that to get a legal squad you are going to need 5. Having 3 is not legal for the game as such, so you are going to have to get more. But at least if this set is £10 normally, you could buy 2 lots of these magazines and then save yourself £4. Also with issue 3, I think you've got lead belcher paint as well, which is worth it too, because that's normally about £2.50. Let's have a quick look at the magazine, and then I'll do some size comparisons and I'll go through the rules for the Reavers, because you don't get the rules in the issue, which sucks. So you get a nice article about Primaris Reavers, saying that they have a vital strategic role within Space Marine strike forces. They push well ahead of the main attack and set up ambushes and traps. And you've got the war gear. You've got grenades, frag, crack and shock. You've got a Vox Amp face mask, a little bit of history about the war on Taravar, and the Reaver war gear data file about the heavy bolt pistol. And I really do like the articles that go into depth about these specific units. It pays them a bit of homage. You've got how to build guide, of course, and painting. And it even goes through lead belcher. Now it's time to use your new colour, the metal sections finally. And then blade to blade, a little bit of a scenario there, and a tutorial on charging, Overwatch, fighting, and extra rules as well. It would have been nice, like I always say, to have the data sheets in these too. Maybe have them like on the first page or even on the last page, so you could just detach them from the rest of the magazine like you can see, and then you'd have all of your data sheets in one kind of tab. I think that would be a better way of doing things, but as it stands, unfortunately not getting the full meal in this subscription service. You're just getting like a starter and a main course. You're not getting that dessert in terms of the rules for the, you know, for the main game. If you want to upgrade and start using them in a larger force or start a large army with them. Okay, so let's do some size comparisons then. First of all is with the intercessors that came with issue 1. They are pretty much the same size. There's no changes here. The heads and the power packs are the same height. They are Primaris Space Marines at the end of the day, just in different armour. I'm not a huge fan that they're missing a shoulder pauldron. I think it does look odd that they don't have that and they have it on their melee arm. At the end of the day, it just looks like they're missing a piece of armour. Personally, I would have much preferred them if they had actual 2 proper shoulder pauldrons, but that's just my take on it from a design point of view. Let's compare them to a Space Marine from Space Marine Heroes selection. Similar heights. As you can see, the Reaver is a bit taller. There's another head, almost a head taller than a standard Space Marine, but I thought I'd do that size comparison too. And then we'll just compare them to a Death Guard model that you would have got in issue 2, but luckily I've got a few more issues now, so I can actually do this size comparison. If you see the Death Guard, look, Death Guard is almost the same height. Obviously they're bloated and bigger and more tougher and things than these Reavers, these Death Guard, these disgustingly resilient creatures. But you compare it to like a humanoid kind of Poxwalker, which will be the next video in this series. They are bigger. They do stand a lot bigger than these little Poxwalker creatures, type zombie things. So I hope all those size comparisons help. Now what I'll do is just go through all of the rules, as you don't get them in the magazine, unfortunately. So the Reaver squad you'll find in the elite section, not the troop choice section, which is disappointing, as I've always viewed these Reavers as the scout equivalent of Primaris Space Marines, which are the intercessors in the troop choice section. And in a Space Marine Codex, there are a lot of things in the elite section that are competing with these Reavers, such as Primaris Ancients, Chapter Ancients, Chapter Champions, Honor Guard, Company Ancients, Apothecaries, Company Champions, Company Veterans, Servitors, Primaris Apothecaries, Aggressor Squads, Terminators, Terminator Assault Squads, Cataphracti Terminator, Tartarus Terminator, Vanguard Veteran, Stern Guards, Dreadnoughts, Ironclad Dreadnoughts, Venerable Dreadnoughts, Contemptor Dreadnoughts, Redemptor Dreadnoughts, and Centurion Assault Squads. So as you can see, the elite choice in a Space Marine army is very, very hotly contested. The most contested section in the Space Marine Codex, other than possibly the HQ section. Heavy support, there's a lot in there too, but not as much as elites, no way. So that's why you need to make sure when you're writing up an army list that these will have a specific role to play, because aggressors are good, centurions are good, terminators and dreadnoughts are very good, and they're the units that generals will typically pick over these Reavers. Nonetheless, let's go over the rules. So the power points cost of one of these squads, which would normally consist of 1 Reaver Sergeant and 4 Reavers, is a power points cost of a 5. The match play points cost is 18 points per model. Heavy bolt pistols are free, and so are combat knives. Shock grenades are also free. So you're not really having to spend any extra points on these 3 Reavers at least. Their stat line then. Their movement is 6 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3+, strength and toughness are 4, they've got 2 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7 and a save of 3+. Does that sound familiar to you? It should do. It's exactly the same stat line as an intercessor squad. So no extra bonuses here just because they're in, you know, say quieter armour. As I mentioned before, the unit consists of a sergeant and 4 Reavers. You can include 5 additional Reavers, and each model is armed with a bolt carbine, heavy bolt pistol, frag grenades, crack grenades and shock grenades. Now if you want those combat knives, you're going to have to exchange your bolt carbines for them, which is what these Reavers have done. All models in the unit may take grav shoots, and all models in the unit may take a grapnel launcher. Those options are mainly for the full set if you were to buy one of those. So I won't talk about the bolt carbines, but I will talk about the heavy bolt pistols and the combat knives, which is what these Reavers are equipped with. So the heavy bolt pistol is a range 12-inch, pistol 1, strength 4, AP -1 and a damage 1. So it's the same as a normal bolt pistol, just a better AP. It's got a -1 AP. The combat knife is the strength of the user, which is 4 and a damage of 1. However, each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. That's pretty good. It bumps up their attacks to 3. You got 10 of them, you got 30 attacks pumping out there. Well, 31 if you take the sergeant. They've got the frag and crack grenades and they work as normal, but the shot grenades, same range, 6-inch, but it's a type grenade D3, so statistically you're going to get 2 or more with this. It doesn't have a strength, an armor penetration or a damage value because it doesn't inflict any damage. If an enemy infantry unit is hit by shot grenades, it's stunned until the end of the turn. It cannot fire Overwatch and the opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls made for the unit. That's pretty good. You're disabling units with those shot grenades. A Reaver squad's abilities, and they shall know no fear, grapnel launchers, combat squads, terror troops and grav shoots. We won't talk about grapnel launchers or grav shoots because these Reavers aren't equipped with them. However, combat squads are just what I've talked about before, where if the unit consists of 10 models, then it may be split into 2 units, each containing 5 models. And terror troops, probably something to do with the mask, enemy units must subtract 1 from their leadership if they are within 3 inches of Reaver squads. That's quite good. The leadership of the Reavers is 7 anyway. It's nice to just remove 1 leadership from them. Keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Infantry, Primaris and Reaver squad. So as it stands, they're the same as Intercessors without the firepower. They cost less than Intercessors, however, they are in a hotly contested section of the army, the elite section. So although they're cheaper than Intercessors, they're up against many better, but obviously pricier, options. You can deep strike them if you use grav shoots, but you have to get the other kit for that. And grapnel launchers also allow them to deep strike, but they don't count any vertical distance they move against to the total they can move that turn. So if you're playing Kill Team or if you're playing a cityscape board, these Reavers with the grapnel launchers will be great at whizzing around Batman style the battlefield. And that's all I wanted to say about Space Marine Reavers, in particular the ones that come with issue number 3 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. What do you guys think of them? Please do put it in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor protects.